This is Ray, Manchester United supporter and P1 supporter. Fuck the rest of the league. Red Devils are going to win this shit. Peace out, baby. Oh, and you're listening to DU Football Show.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
You didn't.
I had your shirt ready to wear today. All you had to do was score a goal.
Yeah. Goal. Just
Couldn't
one.
manage.
A goal.
Couldn't really even manage a proper chance,
You know,
actually.
not really, not at all. It was
That's
pretty
that covered.
embarrassing. Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. Right day, the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of my lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me, actually murmuring to himself, yes I can, yes I am, no I don't, while the fucking song was going on as he was mouthing to you all, I heard him murmur those positive affirmations, my co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham.
What is life without a positive affirmation, man? You know? I'm my number one supporter.
Just too funny.
Okay.
Like, I it was like...
Although Taylor and Ray like to think they both are P1s.
Yeah.
I'm my P1.
Yeah. You did. He was... Who's
been-
the Lord? And he goes, no, I don't.
No, I don't. Not this week, baby.
Straight in shorts. Yes, I do.
Sure do.
Hey, Mel, your alarm's going off.
I do look good in shorts.
And, of course, Mel on the ones and twos. How you doing, producer Mel?
It is 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, you need to check and see if you have tours and shit.
Sunday.
We're recording at the Public House just outside the nation's capital. And you can find us wherever you get your podcast. And, of course, streaming live every single Monday night, except for today when it's on a Sunday, because we're not recording on a Monday.
No, we weren't going to stream it, but I was like, fuck it, let's do it. Surprise.
No, I set all this up. He couldn't remember still, as of Thursday, that you were going to be here.
Should you want to chat with us, there's many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Easy. If you want all of your event coordinating needs, it's at DU Football Show and all the social medias at dufootballshow@gmail.com. Just put attention Sam in the subject line. Sorry, excuse me, attention Graham in the subject line because I take care of everything around here and I'm the worst at admin.
Yeah,
actually.
Well, the problem is I can't be bothered. That's what we all know. You know, that's the key thing to understand, everyone, is that there's just sometimes Houston just can't be bothered.
Do you know what I learned this week?
What did you learn?
You know the English idiomatic expression that says I can't be asked?
Yeah, no, I do not.
It's not asked. Like, I can't be asked for that.
I can't not know.
It's not for asked. It's not asked. It's asked. Like, I can't be bothered to get off my bum.
Oh.
I can't be asked for that.
Can't be asked for
It's
that.
ASSED, which I found interesting.
Fantastic.
No one's ever corrected me.
Yeah.
And I've always said I can't be asked.
Yeah,
And no one's ever said anything because it means the same fucking thing.
but the saying is I can't be asked.
I can't be asked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
I can't be
Love
asked.
that. Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep passion and love for all things distilled spirits. So is the red-blooded Americans we are. We vow to have a drink in our hand throughout the show and every single show. Mr. Graham, Gin Binge continues. New gin, new tonic. What are we drinking this week, my good friend?
So this week we have Gin JiJi. This is a Darjeeling India dry gin. What?
What'd you
I know.
call it?
Gin JiJi. That's
Gin
what it's called.
Gigi. Gigi just left.
Gigi just left. I know.
Gigi was here for sound check.
Pretty sure that's why Sam told me to bring it. This is an India dry gin. It's made from finest Indian botanicals, not India's finest botanicals. Locally cultivated, handpicked, and blended. It is 86 proof or 43% by volume for anyone that's asking. And your blurb reads as this from the back of the bottle. The name JiJi is derived from the Hindi. I got a little thing here. The Hindi word probably Jijivisha, a word best used to describe a lust for life. Gin JiJi is an exploration across the diverse landscape of India to capture the unique flavors of this magical country. Gin JiJi Darjeeling is our first tea-inspired variant, as Darjeeling is home to some of the most elegant and distinctive tea in the world. The heart and soul of our India Dry Gin is wild juniper forage from the Himalayas. Copper pot stilled in Goa. Gin JiJi is the essence of India. The reason I had trouble reading that, if y'all want to see, there is a rip in the old label, and I was trying to decipher every letter that started a word on those lines.
Excellent cold reader.
So there you go. The botanicals.
Excellent cold reader.
Well, I just wanted to make sure you knew. The botanicals, quickly, let me finish. Himalayan juniper, Macedonia juniper, coriander seed, Darjeeling tea, angelica root, cashew nut, Indian lemon peel, ginger, clove, and cardamom. And its ingredients are demineralized water and dry gin.
Very good.
So there you go. Sorry, Mel.
Happy Mother's Day to Diane Graham.
Oh, is my mom checking in?
Yes, she is.
Hey, Ma. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Jay Blankenship, our Fulhamish friend, says he's been day drinking. Glad to see us. And he thinks apparently Graham has been too.
We've been day drinking.
I just showed you there's a rip in the label. I couldn't. I had to decipher the first letter of every word there.
So
job.
Darjeeling is a tea varietal that is very specific to India, right? Like how, you have China has like their green teas and things like that. And then, of course, traditional Earl Greys and stuff like that for England. This is a tea that is very distinct to India. And the one thing that it gives off, the biggest thing that it does is very citrusy.
Yes.
And
Which comes through more on the palate than it does than it comes to the nose.
The nose smelled like juniper all day, and the juniper does not smack you in the face.
No, it's actually quite toned down. I was very surprised given how strong the smell is.
The smell, I really thought it was going to come off very London Dry style. Also because India and England tend to very much mirror each other in styles a lot, because there's a lot of crossover between imports and citizens and people. Like a ton of Indians go and move to England and start families there. So there's a lot of bleed
direct
over.
result of colonization there, Sam. Imperialism.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Oh, I know. But there's
Let's
a
not just
lot
paint the
of bleed
rosy
over.
picture that you're trying to paint there.
Yeah, okay.
There's real world things that happen.
Just trying to be nice about it. It is a lovely gin. And what's the tonic water we're using?
Actually, so I was going to mention that we are drinking Topo Chico came out with a tonic water. So we are drinking that with this today. Obviously made with quinine, as it's a tonic.
Where'd you find that, Graham? That looks really good.
Filtered water with added minerals for taste. There you go. I didn't find it. Sammy found it.
Yeah. She'd just being an ass is what she's being.
He texted me and was like, "Don't buy a tonic. I found one." I said, "Okay, great."
I know, I was in that chat. I actually picked it up.
I forgot.
Mr. Graham, one last thing. It is very fitting that you put all your stuff on a particular box. You turn around. Tell me what that box is right there.
That's a Westward Milestone is what it looks like.
Cool. Make sure you take that with you and take it down to Myrtle Beach for you and the boys to enjoy.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you very
trip.
much.
Yeah, that is a gift from me to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Reminding them who their favorite supplier is.
I appreciate that. I will definitely do that. Also, we should make mention, as it is Mother's Day, Mel.
Yeah.
And, we made sure Jan drank responsibly and everything else. We do have Bernie in studio today as well. Happy Mother's Day, Bernie.
Love you, Mom.
We miss you very much.
And she's a gin
I
gal.
might actually cry. Y'all are being terrible.
We're not being terrible.
Not being terrible. Just talking about how much we loved Bernie and how we're sad she's no longer here.
Although if I did think about her a lot today, for example, when I bought potato salad, I remembered in Bernie's head, her favorite potato salad with egg is when you forget the egg.
Mm-hmm.
Much like her favorite martini is when the closest vermouth to the glass is across the street at the other bar.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
Same joke with both of them. I think that was hanging out with the egg.
It was
Vermouth and
definitely.
the egg across the street.
Absolutely.
Fucking off from this party.
You know what? If you got a winning formula, why diverge?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It works.
Mr. Graham, what else should we always do?
Always remember to drink responsibly and lay a ton of blame at your son's foot so he feels guilty and does whatever you need him to do.
Exactly.
Was that too deep?
I mean, actually, one would dare. Spot on. That hangs with me still today.
That's why she's here.
Precisely.
Jesus Christ. It's so bad.
Mom, I'm actually an executive now. I'm not just some guy who goes out and buys drinks.
I'm an executive. Now he's an executive, Mel.
No, not a, leave it where it is.
Executive.
We open with the top of the table as the title is starting to look like a staring contest, and it's down to who blinks first.
Yep.
Manchester City 4, Fulham 0, Arsenal 1, Manchester United 0. Just another day at the park for City as they just fucking cruise.
No, it wasn't. It was just another day at the park for Fulham because it looks like that flying kites and fucking training wasn't a great idea.
That was fabulous, by the way. I saw that. I was
Absolute
like,
assholes. What are you doing? We need you. London's supposed to be united today, and they're flying kites in preparation for the champions visiting. I couldn't believe my stars. I'm sitting there. I'm looking at the internet. Yeah, I'm taking a shit one day, looking at the internet, and I got tagged in this. Sam looks like they're going to play great. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. This is how they're preparing for City coming up.
Flying motherfucking kites.
Yeah, but who'd have thought that was a bad idea, right? But what are you meant to do when City's left back can make runs and finish in that manner? So the flying kites initially pissed me off, but then Gvardiol did what he did, and it's like, well, fuck it. They weren't going to do anything anyway.
And he's one of those guys who's been kind of in and out of the lineup, had been hurt. When he is healthy, he doesn't always play. And it's so just amazing with this team how you can, this week it's this dude's turn to score too. Mm-hmm. And it just happens every fucking week.
Phil Foden always seems to figure it out. A great finish from him as well after Bernardo Silva was tackled pretty well at the edge of the box. The ball just kind of found Foden. First touch, bang, right in the corner. What you worried about?
Well, but also, remember Doku had a run where he was in scoring form. Grealish had a run where he was in scoring form. And then smattered all over the place when nobody is scoring and they need a goal. Boop, Bernardo Silva scores. That's what this fucking team is. Rodri,
it's a bit ridiculous.
Is good to give you 5 fucking outside the box, upper 90 bangers a season.
But also with Rodri especially, it's always a big goal. It's always either against a big team or in the waning moments when it's still 0-0 or whatever. It's always an important, very big goal is the key with him. Right. Well, 100%. It's just, I mean, what are you supposed to do, right? There's in this theme of these two games, right? There's so much reliant, which we'll come on to in depth, obviously later in the show. But there's so much reliant on other teams,
right?
In terms of Arsenal's, from Arsenal's perspective,
right?
Tottenham got their come from behind win, which we'll obviously go into detail on when we cover their game. That's good because they got a little confidence, right? The best thing that Arsenal can hope for now is that Villa and Liverpool tomorrow, or as you all are hearing this today,
it's a draw or a loss.
No, you need Liverpool to win. Villa have to lose. A draw would see Villa go 7 points clear of Tottenham, and Tottenham have 2 games left.
It's over.
So it'd be over. So we need actually Villa to lose, right?
Right.
And then that gives Tottenham an outside chance,
right,
at finishing in 4th, which means they care more on Tuesday, and they are the best team left that City have to play,
right?
Which for us is so bittersweet.
Well, and it's also on the road for
it's at
City
Spurs,
as well.
it's at Spurs. Yep.
Spurs' last match, of City's last match is a home match. So
correct, and home against West Ham,
right?
Who again got another, kind of come from. I think it was come from behind.
It was
actually.
come from behind, yeah.
Victory and actual performance out of that team.
Yeah,
but. And David Moyes' last game in charge. Do they want to show up for the person that won them a trophy?
Yeah, well,
they could play that game very difficult. West Ham, when they want to be, are very difficult to break down.
Yeah.
So, and they have players that can hurt you. Kudus, Bowen, Antonio on the break. Like, all these players can hurt you.
What you got for us, producer Mo?
Well, I got a fun comment from Jay that Spurs will probably picnic at practice, but they won't be able to eat anything because they don't have any silverware.
That's pretty good, actually.
I did love the one that got put up in the closed group of if Harry Kane's trophy case was a pizza and it's an empty pizza box with not even like a grease stain in it. Like there was,
just never even anything there.
I would have put like one grease stain in there just to be like, well, he made it to a Champions League final that he lost.
I heard this today, actually. I was listening to somebody and they were saying he's got 2 League Cup runners up. I think I think he only made the semifinals of the FA Cup, and then they got knocked out there. I don't think they made it to the final. Mm-hmm. He has a Champions League runner-up, and in 2016, when Leicester won the title, they finished in either second or third. I can't remember. So he may have a Premier League runners-up also. Well, it's like always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, precisely.
And this season at Bayern, who won everything in the last 17 years,
managed to not win a
single trophy. Right. But Granit Xhaka, who just joined Leverkusen for the first time since he left them years and years ago to join Arsenal, are about to wrap up a treble.
Yeah, precisely.
And the only thing Harry Kane will get is the Bundesliga top scorer, which is a cannon.
A treble and
a trophy that is a cannon, Sam.
Yeah.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
He was a Spurs guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You get a fucking cannon.
And a treble that could also potentially be a fucking invincible as well.
Yeah, 100%. So Leverkusen on Thursday in the Europa League equalized in the 97th of 97 minutes to go 49 games unbeaten to start the season. They're still saying that, which is delightful. That is the longest streak in European history. They have since UEFA competitions were added in, the Champions League, European Cup, and Europa League. They have not lost a single game this entire season. And if you think like PSG made it to the semifinals of the Champions League, they lost to Newcastle in the group stage.
Yeah.
Obviously still went through because the group stage is what it is, right? You were able to lose a game or two and sometimes still go through.
Right.
Leverkusen have not lost a single game this entire season. They're in the they've already wrapped up the Bundesliga. That's done.
Yep.
They've got a game against a team far worse than them. I can't remember their name off
in the League Cup
top
final.
of my head on the German League Cup final, and then they will be playing Atalanta, I believe it is, in the Europa League final, which they'll be heavy favorites to win.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, as we get back to the Premier League, obviously with that whole kind of diatribe, we can't talk about these two without talking about those other games, just in terms of scenario, right? Which is why I mentioned them. Obviously, we'll go into the detail of those games in a few minutes.
Well, and the other thing, too, is this all can be decided by Wednesday, is the other thing, too. So going into the last game of the season could mean fuck all by Wednesday.
Not for Arsenal. This is definitely the last day of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
But for European and for relegation, it's like almost everything
could be decided Wednesday.
Completely decided.
Yeah, could be decided by Wednesday. Absolutely.
But even then, on the last day, you would need help.
I need help still.
You need help.
I would need help from one of the last two teams. Yes.
Yeah.
But us beating Manchester United today ensured that it goes to the last day of the season, because now we are on top of the league by 1 point and 3 goals.
I was about to bring up the goal differential. The goal differential has become much smaller now.
But City play Tottenham Tuesday, which they could go 2 points above still.
Right.
But if they were to lose or draw, it would come down to goal difference.
And you
considering we beat you.
Right.
And right now we have goal differential. Yes.
And gotta say, moving on to the next match, a bit of a dog shit match, but Arsenal get it done, and that's ultimately what you need to do. It even kind of felt like as the game rolled on, Arsenal just went, we ain't pushing for a second unless they give it to us.
No,
it's going to be 1-0. We're not going to lose. We're not going to get scored on.
There was like 7 minutes of dominance to start the game immediately, just Arsenal on the front foot, period. It was fruitless. And then there was a long ball played over the top and a very nervy moment between Saliba and Gabriel and Højlund chasing them down. And it was like, oh, shit, we could fuck this up. Let's not fuck this up. Yeah. And then they went into straight conservative mode.
Yeah.
United were never dangerous in the game.
Yeah.
Really. I never got the feeling they were going to score. Possession was about even, maybe even a little bit into United's favor.
Well, and it was
Arsenal just decided
giving them the possession, especially towards the end of the match.
That's exactly it. They just went, fuck this. We're just going to shut up shop. They did to great effect. Like I said, Raya made 2 saves, maybe tops all day, and they were both kind of weak chances.
Now, where you were talking about them not being able to create opportunities, I think there needs to be a lot of credit given to Ben White, because Garnacho, it wasn't for lack of effort, and they certainly were going down his side most of the game.
Because Garnacho's their best player.
And absolutely their best player. And Ben White didn't fall for any of it. Ben White put him right in his pocket, and he might have beaten him a few times, but Ben White got him right back into line.
And everybody covered
never
properly
threw
as well.
Out a foot, never, because you think of like when Everton played Manchester United in the 2 penalties for Garnacho because players decided to take a nibble. Ben White was smart enough to be like, I'm going to force you one way. If I can get the ball, I'm going to get the ball. Otherwise, I ain't going to fucking swing at you.
Exactly.
And he just did a lot of credit needs to go to that player in particular
100%.
in this match. For me, that was the man of the match was Ben White.
Absolutely. I would tend to agree with you, to be honest. I do want to make mention, though, about how far Casemiro's legs have gone. I mean, we talked about it a lot after the Palace game on Monday, but he's the entire reason that Arsenal scored a goal.
Oh, that goal was fucking terrible, and it was on him.
I mean, and Tegan was watching the game with me, and I said, this is why you push your defense out.
Yeah, right there.
I said, do you see this? Everybody else is 5 yards ahead of him. He's trailing far behind, just kind of walking and ball watching. Kai Havertz is offside if he busts his ass and get out, as he's supposed to do, but didn't.
And then also did nothing when the ball went very easily into Trossard for that tap-in.
Yeah.
Like, he was right in front of it.
Now, he came into a Real Madrid team that Toni Kroos and Luka Modric were already a little older. They were still very good, but the reason they were so good is because he did a lot of the running for them. He's got a lot of miles on the clock.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll give you that. However, if you can't hash it no more, fucking tell the manager you can't do that. Like, the manager should realize this, should be playing somebody else. But a center back partnership of Casemiro at 34 with a million miles on the clock and Johnny Evans at 36, 37. I mean, there was never going to be any other outcome.
How pathetic.
There was never going to be any other outcome.
How pathetic was it that at the end, Ten Hag is just left to just going, fine, fuck it, I'll just put a bunch of kids on. Like, he just literally just put a bunch of kids on. It was like, at least they'll fucking run, right?
Yeah.
Like, at least they'll run.
Maybe you should have started that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't disagree.
No Bruno Fernandes, obviously. No Harry Maguire. I mean, maybe you should have started the kids.
Yeah.
The best player on the pitch for them was a toss-up between Kobe Mainoo and Garnacho.
Yeah.
But everybody else was trash.
Yeah.
Including Højlund. He did nothing.
Yeah. And your first answer is Anthony off the bench, which is he's already trash.
Yeah, good luck.
No.
He ain't going to do nothing.
And I will say, in the case of Højlund, I'll give him a little bit of a reprieve simply because he is playing what is probably,
he has no service at all.
Right. There's no service. He's kind of a man on an island, and he is playing, frankly,
The best center back
center back duo in the entire Premier League. Like, everybody keeps ranting and raving about David Raya is going to be the Golden Glove winner because the amount of shutouts because of the amount of shutouts he had. It's because of the two center backs in front of him that he has those many shutouts, because this person who's in second behind him is Jordan Pickford for Everton, who has 115 more saves than Raya, and he has only 3 less shutouts. Something to be like.
Couple other fun stats. Arsenal have now scored 89 goals, which is their highest goal total in a league season ever in their history.
Wow.
In their history, all the way back to 1886. Also, Manchester United have a -4 goal differential after today. They have never once finished with a negative goal differential in the Premier League.
I know.
They probably will, to be honest, because I don't see that ship getting right into the next 2 games.
No, I don't.
Because I think they play Newcastle Wednesday.
They play Newcastle on Wednesday.
So they've got 2 games left. I don't see that being righted because Newcastle need that game to leapfrog into the other European spots.
Yeah.
So, because you got to figure, Khalik, one of our good friends that has been a member of the closed group for a long time, is Drunker United FC on Facebook. He said the other day, so when's City's scrimmage against United or end of season kickabout against United for the FA Cup final? And I feel like it's going to be the same thing, especially if they can't get any of these players fit.
Agreed.
It's going to be trouble. I mean, it'll be a stretch anyway. But if they're starting with Casemiro and Johnny Evans, that's going to be 8-9-0. You got to imagine Watford will no longer have the record for being the worst team beaten in the final.
Yeah, I don't disagree on that one. The other one last thing to mention is The commentators made this remark as the match was going on. JB brought it up in the closed group, and I feel zero sympathy. Was the Manchester United's physio? That's the busiest man in the world right now, and it's like, yeah, but it's not an excuse. With most clubs, injuries can be an excuse.
I mean, even with Newcastle,
right? But when you have the most you are without a doubt the wealthiest club in the world. You have the ability to just make a new jersey, and China is going to print off $1 billion for you because everybody's going to fucking buy it, right? Like, you have that kind of global outreach that there's a reason why no one ever talks about them being in financial fair play or PSR problems.
Because I brought this up the other day in the closed group. I said exactly that.
They never will
because they sell so much shit. I mean, literally. And their business model has been buy players that sell shirts.
Right.
Which obviously doesn't create a good team, which is part of the problem. But that's the thing is Ed Woodward, for the obviously he's gone now, but for many years ran Manchester United under the Glazers in terms of day-to-day operations. And he was obviously a brilliant commercial guy, right? A business guy, which is fine. But at the same time, if you're not performing on the field, right, how much better is your commercial side going to get? So, they were still challenging for honors, at least under him, which they haven't been for the last 2-3 years now since he's been gone. Since you've been gone.
I heard.
But it's a callback. Is that Taylor? Yeah. Oh.
It's Kelly
Clarkson.
That's the same thing, isn't it?
Oh, Kelly Clarkson! That's a callback to the 40-year-old virgin.
I do remember that, actually. That's when he was getting his chest
Here's
done.
what I wanted to get to on that greater point is that I feel zero sympathy for a team that has the ability to just buy whatever they need, and they haven't bought smart enough. They've bought old, aging players to try to fill in. And when you're that injured and that bad and that down, right, and you're missing that many players, when you're that club, I don't feel sorry for you. You should have three fucking lineups of players. Your fucking youth players should be chomping at the bit to want to be fucking putting on that jersey.
But that's the thing is that the players don't.
You should have bought a young kid from somewhere instead of Johnny fucking Evans on a free. Should have bought some fucking young kid from someplace else, and that kid had been sitting on the bench the whole year begging to put on a Manchester United jersey. So when they're like, oh yeah, they've gone through something, fuck you. Fuck you. You're the club that I feel zero sympathy for.
But that's what happens. You remember the old Lewis Black bit about the nipple and being out or whatever, and he goes, well, I got to say nipple.
Right.
Without the nipple, it's just a shoulder with no bone structure. I mean, that's why you call somebody a tit, is because what's a head without a skull?
We turn our attention to the bottom of the table as the relegation zone claims another victim, and the final team will need a miracle on the final day. Spurs 2, Burnley 1, West Ham 3, Luton 1, Chelsea 3, Forest 2. Claret's come out swinging.
I got a question to start this off, actually, because of our boy Brett. As an atheist, did you throw in miracle for Luton as a dig because Burnley got relegated, or no?
No, it was just in general.
I know, I'm just calling you out.
It's perfectly fine.
It's kind of poor writing, actually, and disrespectful to our friend.
No.
Because he brought Jesus to the good people of Burnley, as we all know.
No, because Luton needs a miracle because they got to win 6-0. And
yeah, but if Jesus is visiting Luton, how could he be in Burnley?
Okay, fine. Well, it had nothing to do with that.
I just like poking a bear, that's all.
I was thinking more of, do you believe in miracles? Yes, was what I was thinking of, was the fucking the hockey team, That's what I was thinking of when I wrote that.
Good. The hockey team.
Not everything
the Mighty Ducks?
Not everything is God-hating for atheists, okay?
I didn't say you hated God. I just said you said he turned his back on Burnley. That's all.
Anyways, Burnley come out swinging, but ultimately not enough as two defenders score for the win.
Yes, which seems to be Tottenham's bag of late because their forwards are absolute garbage. Richarlison was hurt for this game. Obviously, he came on and scored against Arsenal, which you thought, like, oh, okay, look at Spurs. Here we go. Yeah. Injured again. Yep. Like, it just can't seem to stay fit up front. Timo Werner's not going to be your end-all, be-all. We said that when he got signed. He also didn't feature in this game anyway, again, due to injury.
Right.
But I don't think it would have helped had he been there.
Right.
Which is my point. Son has been in terrible form all season. It looks like he can't carry the load, a void left by Harry Kane. As we've seen, this all does not bode well for me on Tuesday, does it?
No, it does not.
What I do like is that a weak come from behind win, as you say. Burnley went ahead early. Jakob Brun-Larsen again, who's been a fantastic signing. Not signing, but new player to the Premier League after their promotion, is what I mean. Just somebody new in the consciousness for most football fans. He's been excellent this season. It was a perfectly timed run. He did great to neutralize Van der Ven's pace by getting across the front of him and slowing him down with that immaculate first touch that he had following that through ball. And then he finished well past Vicario. Was great. And I thought, this was the title challenge done and dusted. Because if Spurs lost, Tuesday wouldn't have mattered at all.
Wouldn't have mattered at all. Not one bit.
Regardless of Villa's result on Monday. So all of this made me very worried, and then Spurs actually pulled something out of their pocket there. They grew into the game a bit. They had more chances. They finally got seemed like their feet underneath of them and played some of the Ange ball they've been playing all season, for the most part, minus this kind of 10, 12 game blippy run they've had since the start of the year.
Yeah.
So I think that was very important that they got that done.
Agreed.
And take that confidence into Tuesday, hopefully.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't. How much confidence does it instill when you beat an already relegated team?
Right. But no, they were then made relegated because of that.
Well, yeah,
right.
Correct. Yes,
that's ultimately what put them down. Now, the other question that I have for you there too would be, Champions League is still in the cards for Spurs, but they need a ton of help. They definitely need Villa to lose their last two.
They need Villa to drop points in both.
Yeah,
is the key. If Villa lose tomorrow, the last game comes to stoppage time. The last game comes to a draw or loss for Villa with a Spurs win, and it'll come down to goal difference. Now, that being said, Spurs currently are 8 down in goal difference. So kind of need Liverpool to turn the screw a little bit to help even more.
Yeah, precisely.
That coupled with a Spurs, say, 2-0 win against Man City to make the goal difference like 3 would be helpful.
Right.
To my cause. But I don't see it happening.
No, I don't see it happening either. I think it comes down to the last game of the season.
So do I. It's absolutely going to come down to the last game of the season. And my shoulders, first title in 20 years, rests on the shoulders of David Moyes.
Yep.
But, and I want us all to remember, what was it, 1996, was it, Blackburn?
Yep.
West Ham United were kingmakers that day. As they
transferred to be kingmakers again.
As they drew Manchester United, and Blackburn won on the final day of the season. And you had the Blackburn players and manager spraying fucking champagne all over the locker room, all over the changing room, singing Forever Blown Bubbles.
Yep.
And the best thing I could hope for is me standing on my back deck buck naked, spraying champagne all over the backyard, singing Forever Blown Bubbles.
There we go.
I'm FaceTiming Smokey while I'm doing it, too.
Heard.
And he's going to get a look at the old pecker.
There you go. You just...
And the old chap, yeah.
The dude on the metal stand all the way at the bottom with the champagne in their face.
Yeah, except I'll be on top because I'll be in first place.
Exactly. That'll be you fucking spraying the champagne on your face.
100%. Big time. But again, sans tracksuit.
Yeah. Now, I would also say... For the Clarets, they never really deviated from their style. They came in, they played their style. It was a lot of young players. This is one of those relegations that if I was a supporter of their team, I'd be disappointed to be going down, but I'd be feeling like we're going right back up.
Yeah, so as again, we kind of, this stage of the season, we can't help but talk about a collective, right?
Right.
As we look at Luton here, which we'll talk about in a second as well, versus Sheffield United, who we'll come on to later, who's been gone, and y'all's game was shit, so they're in the last stage,
right,
in the last section of the show. But Luton and Burnley have stayed true to themselves, and they've tried. They've given it their all. I mean, even like I said, Burnley went ahead in this game.
Right.
They were giving it a go. Nottingham Forest have been trying. They haven't just gone, oh, points deduction.
Right.
Everton have been trying. They didn't go, wow, points deduction.
Right.
I mean, the first point deduction you ate up in the next 3 games.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, that's what you want to see. That's why, like, 2 years ago, we stopped talking about Sheffield United. We didn't even mention them on the show anymore. And we pride ourselves on talking about all 10 games.
Right.
Because they just didn't even give a fuck. Norwich, 3 seasons ago? What was it?
Just didn't care.
Just didn't care. And it was like, why are we devoting time to this? If you try, if you put forth effort, we'll give you your dues. And that there's something to be said for Luton and Burnley. Now, ultimately, was that game plan to their detriment? Yes. They could have been and should have been more pragmatic in the opening stages of the season.
Yeah.
They should have been a bit more defensive. They should have tried a bit harder. Like when Luton were up 3-2 against Liverpool, think to that game at Kenilworth Road. I vaguely remember them almost bagging a 4th.
Right.
Why are you advancing beyond midfield?
Well, right. It should be ending 3-2 because you didn't let him in.
Right. Liverpool marched down in either very late stages or early stoppage time and score the equalizer.
Yep.
And then for the next 5 minutes, turn the screw to try to get a winner. And ultimately, they didn't. And their season's not going to come down to that particular set of drop points.
Of course.
But my point is stylistically and philosophically, if you're looking at this situation, why is that not a 3-2 win given the situation you were in?
Right. Precisely.
You know, and I think that it's a credit to them to come into the Premier League and to say, fuck that, we're doing it our way. You know, kind of Frank Sinatra-esque. You know, I did it my way. But ultimately, it's to their detriment.
Right. Is it your daughter or your wife that keeps calling you over and over and over and over again?
My daughter.
Okay. Why don't you send her a text real quick?
I am.
And go, hey, kind of recording a show here. Remember why
Well,
I
she
wasn't
knows
at
what's
your
going
game?
on.
Anyways, the one thing I would say for Burnley, and then we'll move on to the next match, is I like that they kept with company. They kept with their form. They stayed true to the team that they were. And I think that will benefit them for the future in what that program wants to become, which is ultimately a regular fixture in the Premier League. And I feel like they can do that if they stick to the fucking course. And they didn't jump ship and they didn't fucking abandon everything. And it saw them go down, but I also feel like it also helped them quite a bit as well.
Nice.
Now,
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I just, in this day and age when it's about the money and it's about everything else and this, that, the other, and staying up is so vitally important, I thought there could have been some other decisions made in certain games especially that could have kept them both in the league, and instead they decided to not be so pragmatic.
Yeah, because there were certainly teams they could have taken points from.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't remember. I think Palace beat one of the two of them earlier in the season, and they would have been fucking easy days to get at least a draw against.
Oh, and I mean, and you got to be worried about, I think Ipswich is an up and down situation just because they came up from 2 leagues, and I'm not sure if they're going to be really subtly prepared for the Premier League next season. But Leicester, you got to assume, is fucking staying.
Yeah.
And
even with the 2 points, you would probably assume because they're chock full of Premier League players. And then, really, they didn't lose many people when they went down. Like Leeds lost more people than they did.
But I would also say if it's Leeds or Southampton, they're going to put up a much tougher fight than these teams did. Than the Blades did ultimately, and what Burnley and the Hatters put up ultimately. The Hatters had a perfect first half.
Drunkard United would put a better display up than Sheffield United.
True. The Hatters had a perfect first half, but they definitely got West Hammed in the second. It was just all counter goals.
Yeah, 100%.
It was the most Moiseola thing ever. It really, really was.
Yeah, but I mean, when you have players like Kudus, to Smokey's point, I mean, if you let those players off the leash, they can devastate teams. They can hurt teams.
Right.
But I think Bowen had one into the side netting, one off the outside of the post. I mean, things could have been far worse for Luton here than they ended up being. Antonio had one cleared off the line, I think, as well, or a fantastic save to say the least. Something along those lines.
So the big thing is they're not officially eliminated yet, but it's pretty much done and dusted. They have to win and Forest have to lose, and there has to be a 13-goal swing.
Yeah, it's pretty much done and dusted. And this is, again, the old cliche of that goal differential is an extra point, essentially.
Oh, it absolutely is in this case.
Yeah.
100% a second point. And also, a lot of those goals that in that goal differential happened later in the season for Luton when they were trying to push maybe a little too hard.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
A couple of times 5-1.
Exactly right. And even in this game, like some of the defending for James Ward-Prowse's opener was like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's almost like there was this squabble of children, and James Ward-Prowse was like, well, I'm the dad, and then just came in and put it in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking charge of the situation.
Yep, precisely.
You're going to stop hitting your sister with your toy truck. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, it's just a bit, kind of ridiculous.
So finally on to Chelsea and Forest. Oh, what an actual game, man.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
We have to quickly mention George Earthy.
Oh, yes, the kid.
The kid that got knocked out by his own player's hip a couple of weeks ago. Debut goal on his second appearance for the first team for West Ham.
Absolutely.
And we were nervous whether or not he played the rest of the season because of that. And he came back before the end, obviously. And it was absolutely fantastic. It was virtually his first touch of the game. And good on you.
Yeah.
I mean, just seeing players score their first goal for a club, really, regardless of who it is, it's always a joy to watch.
It's great to watch.
I mean, just the absolute unbridled enthusiasm on that kid's face when he scored. He didn't know whether to grab the badge, pat his chest, do the irons. He didn't know what to do. He was just so fucking happy he did it.
Did everything.
And you could see the fucking 18-year-old raging boner he had in his pants as he ran to the corner to slide. I was like, don't do it. You might break it. If you get this wrong, you're going to fucking break your dick.
It's going to be 3 drag lines in the behind the slide.
Exactly there. Right, yeah. The old, what are the old farming things?
Yeah, the plow.
The plow.
Now back, great point. Thank you for bringing that up.
A real plow.
Yeah, I heard. Actually, a great fucking game
Just awkwardly stared at Mel, and she won't acknowledge me.
A great fucking game between Forest and Chelsea. It was actually entertaining as fuck. And Forest certainly understood the severity of the situation. And they played like a team desperate. And it just ultimately ended up being a very good young team in form got the better of them by the end. But it wasn't it wasn't like Forest wasn't fucking trying.
No, I still think you'll find some inconsistencies in Chelsea next year. But these last, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks, they're starting to look like they're finally taking hold of Poch's ideas.
Right. Which is
they
great.
Look like they're starting to try to figure out what they're supposed to be doing.
Which is great that then Poch, when asked afterwards after the game, was like, man, I don't even know if I'll be here next year. Because it's the whole, they're doing the same thing as Liverpool. The front office picks the players, the team, the everything, and the coach has no say, right? The coach just goes and coaches the team. Well, he's like, well, I want to have a say. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. And then Chelsea came out and said, we're going to assess the whole season for Pochettino. And it's like, what you should be assessing is where the success is. And if he ends up getting you into fucking Europe, and frankly, if he gets you into Europe, he definitely saves you from financial fair play fucking problems and PSR. Like he fucking saved you from that. And that's because he took a group of young kids, young players, and got them to finally figure out what the fuck they were doing.
Not a group, about 4 groups, because they have about 48 players on their books.
Yeah, no shit.
It's a bit absurd, but you're absolutely right. I mean, had it not been for Cole Palmer's kind of just almost Zidane-esque passing range in this game, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
2 or 3 balls that he put through were just utterly phenomenal. I mean, it's the stuff of wet dreams. These balls. He put one through with the inside of his left foot to Nico Jackson. Ultimately fucked it up, but he split 2 defenders, 2 Forest defenders. He had it wide on Nico Jackson's left. And the rotation he put on the ball, it by itself dragged on to Nico's right side, which is his favored foot.
Yeah.
Split 2 defenders, and Nico Jackson didn't have to break stride, even though it came from his left shoulder, that ball.
Put it right to
and
the
it was
foot.
fucking gorgeous. Pass of the season had it resulted in a goal easily.
Oh, God, yeah.
It did not, because I don't personally rate Nico Jackson, but he fucked it up.
Right. Shocker.
Even though he did score in this game, and actually it was a pretty decent goal. He generated a lot of power from a header, from a standing position, and put it smart enough to put it far post to where Matt Sells couldn't get to it, which is fine. But, I mean, they were trading blows. Forrest stood up and did what they were supposed to do. Chelsea were still a bit fragile. Still, again, with these young players, like I say, especially early next season, you're still going to see some inconsistencies.
Oh, gosh, yes.
More so if they don't hold on to Poch. Ultimately, this was probably the best game of the weekend for me, all in all.
Oh, yeah. It absolutely was.
They were all kind of back and forth. Willie Bolly scored a weird one, which is always fun to see. It's like John Madden said about when you have one of the fat guys scoring, one of the linesmen scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Willie Bolly doesn't score many goals.
Right.
So when he did, it was like, oh, huh. And then you get that kind of that quote unquote fat guy celebration,
right?
Which is a ton of fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat some poi dance.
Yeah.
The other thing mentioned, it almost seemed like it was going to be the perfect ending because Hudson-Odoi scores
against his former team, obviously,
and it was a peach.
But again, my problem with this is watch any of the tape from the last month.
Right, you know this is what he's going to do.
That's what he's doing.
So why aren't you stopping that?
From the left, he cuts into the center of goal.
Yeah.
And hits with his right foot into a curler to the far side.
Right. Why aren't you covering
How many times has he done it?
Right.
He did it twice last week, and I mentioned it. So if I was a Forest defender, I probably would have coached myself. I wouldn't even need the manager to have told me to play him down the wing on his left foot.
Yeah. Make him have to cross.
Make him work for it.
Yep. Precisely. And but then, like I said, right, it finishes off. There goes Chelsea. Couple of quick heartbreakers, but still looks like Forest is going to be safe.
Yep.
Let's make this short and sweet because really not a ton to say. Rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. Palace 3, Wolverhampton 1, Newcastle 1, Brighton 1, Everton 1, Sheffield 0, Brentford 2, Bournemouth 1, and of course Villa and Liverpool play on Monday, which is when this show is going to be released. Elise Mateta Eze again and again and again and I mean, it just seems like every time they score anything more than 2 or 3 goals, it is those 3 names are 2 or 3 of those names every fucking time.
100%. The thing's going to be with Palace is they've obviously been playing a ton better. They look more organized. They look more together. They look more of a unit. And he also, remember, hasn't even had Tyreek Mitchell. I'm sorry, Mark Gahey.
Yeah,
Mark Gahey's been hurt. Got Mark Gahey back. He had Oliver Glasner had not had him in a single game since he took over until his 5-minute cameo last weekend. Right. So this was the first game he had him in full, really, as a fit Palace player. But they're going to be absolutely chuffed that their front 3 are doing this. The problem is going to be, as we've already said, you can't talk about any of these games without context. Manchester United have already said their entire squad's up for sale except for Højlund, Garnacho, and one I can't remember
which means
I can't remember the other one.
Is going to be open for both Elise and Eze.
Exactly.
It'll
exactly
be the
right.
Zaha they never brought back.
Exactly right. And if Palace can hold on to these 3 players, which I don't think anybody's going to be coming for any defenders. Maybe Mark Gahey is it.
Yeah.
Maybe Tyreek Mitchell, but I can't really see it at this point because of how the rest of the season went minus the last 5-6 games.
Right.
Those front 3 are the ones that are going to be sought after. If Palace can hold on to them, I could see them pressing, not necessarily getting there, but pressing for European place. I could see them in like a 9th place finish, for instance.
Well, keep in mind, too, they have gone this entire season without Decore, their primary holding midfielder.
Yeah, fair enough. Absolutely.
Imagine what they are.
They've had to play Casper the friendly midfielder the whole time.
Imagine what they are with a fucking backbone. But also, imagine what they are if all of those guys get bought this summer, which could also fucking happen.
Which could happen. Which could easily happen.
Question mark.
So that's the part that I'd be worried about. But The only thing Wolves really produced in this game at home, which is kind of a surprise, was the Cunha goal. And they were rather fortunate that VAR caught the non-offsides that was called offsides on the field.
Yeah.
Joachim Anderson, obviously, with his trailing leg, kept Cunha on, or whoever crossed the ball to Cunha on with the initial pass. But Palace were just clinical.
Yeah.
Elise's goal was excellent. Mateta's goal was great reactions. Even Nathaniel Klein, for Mateta's goal, that little dink ball from Elise, again, could have been pass of the season. But Nathaniel Klein put it off the bar, or not the bar, put it off the post, and Mateta just reacted first and was able to stab it home from 6 yards out.
And then one more thing worth saying is this matchup will be at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium this summer on July the 31st. Right in our backyard.
That's it. I'm excited to go see it, hopefully.
If you all are planning on attending it or anything like that, reach out to us.
Please make sure you let us know.
Because you are legitimately in our backyard. This is our fucking hometown. It's where we fucking live. We always say just outside of the nation's capital, it's motherfucking Annapolis. That's where we are. So, like, literally, if you're coming, let us know. We definitely would make sure we catch up with you. Bit of a slip from Newcastle. I mean, Brighton's got to be, happy that they at least got a point, but for Newcastle, it felt like opportunity missed here.
Well, I think Brighton would be disappointed because they actually scored first.
No.
They'll be disappointed because what you need to know about this game is that in the highlight package, Sam, it went from kickoff to 17 minutes.
Right.
Because fuck all happened, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck
they
all
did
happened.
nothing.
Yeah.
And that was the majority of the game. Fuck all happened. They had a few bits of football here and there that were played back and forth. But ultimately, nothing really went on. And that 17th minute was the Veltman goal, right? Mm-hmm. And Brighton were playing well enough and organized enough that they would be disappointed that Newcastle ground them down and snuck the draw.
Right. But Newcastle also, a draw is not what you needed. A win probably secures Europe for you, where now you need to definitely win against United, which is not a hard ask, but still.
No, we did it not even getting out of first gear.
Right, precisely.
But generic white man from the north, Sean Longstaff, generic white man from the north, number 2. Because number 1 is Scott McTominay. Mm-hmm. Generic white man from the north, number 2, Sean Longstaff, obviously got Newcastle's goal. Mm-hmm. It was actually a decent little finish.
It was.
From him.
Now, here's what I'm going to be saying about the Blades for the remainder of the season, for the final game, because I imagine I will say it 3 or 4 times, because how I do the final show is a time breakdown, not a game breakdown. 101 goals against.
Yeah.
Now we'll talk about Everton. Because that is what I will now say about when Sheffield concedes another goal on the timeline. I will say Sheffield has now given up 102 goals and 103 and 104 because they're going to play Tottenham, who will probably smack them around for 5 because the game won't matter. Mm-hmm. Now for Everton, the only a nice goal from Decore, good assist from Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin finding form after being injured. That's good for Everton.
Finally, yeah,
that's good. That's good news for Everton. Along with Palace and Manchester City, the 3 best records in the last 5 matches have been those 3 teams. Mm-hmm. They've had better records than even you. You had that loss in there. So the one thing that was interesting, Robinson and Calvert-Lewin got into a little bit of a tough, and I didn't even really see where it even looked like a necessary foul, and then Robinson jumped up and pushed Calvert-Lewin to the ground. Calvert-Lewin jumped up in his face. Sidelines kind of because it's right on the touchline. The sidelines are all involved. Everybody's kind of separating them. They give Robinson a yellow card, and then they turn around and give Calvert-Lewin a yellow card. Calvert-Lewin didn't do anything to be involved in the yellow card. It was a 50-50 ball, and then he got pushed on the ground, and then he stood up in the guy's face. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's a reaction. It's normal.
Okay.
It's a we coming together. It's a non-starter. But if 2 players are going to square up, 99.99999% of the time, both get a yellow card, regardless of who's in the right or wrong.
Right.
I'm not necessarily upset by it.
No
it just
hands,
is what
no
it is.
Nothing.
Doesn't matter.
So one of the color commentators for the game was Leon Osman, former Everton player, and they finally
woke leftist liberal biased media.
The officials finally got to them what the reasoning was for his yellow card, and this one I've never heard before, and I find that interesting, adopting an aggressive attitude.
If we could still, Mel, play real music at the end of Injury Time, it would definitely be Teenagers by My Chemical Romance.
So
if you haven't heard the song, give it a listen, because it absolutely, especially the way he dresses, smacks of Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
Taking an aggressive stance.
So and here's what's Osman's response was, doesn't one adopt an aggressive attitude when they're trying to score a goal, or adopt aggressive attitude when they're trying to make a save, or hell, just adopt an aggressive attitude when they're trying to win a challenge? Later in the game, Onana gets knocked down and Onana jumps up quickly, and Ozzy immediately goes, hey. I mean, I guess you got to give him a yellow card, too, for adopting an aggressive attitude. He was so chuffed by it that finally the lead anchor was just like, all right, we got your point.
You made your fucking point, man. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. You know who else had a bit of an aggressive stance was Zlatan Ibrahimovic this weekend. Did you see these Sky Sports kind of walk around the Old Trafford training ground that Thierry Henry and Zlatan did? There was I don't know if it was an outtake or if it actually aired on the television, but Thierry Henry they were in the indoor piece of the training facility, and Thierry Henry goes, "Oh, look at that! I don't see Zlatan on the wall there." Like they have their greats kind of painted on like a mural on the wall,
right?
And he goes, "What happened?" And Zlatan goes, "Oh, you know why I'm not there? Just because they have not figured out what God looks like yet." One would argue that's an aggressive stance.
Well, or one would just argue that that's Zlatan being Zlatan.
I mean, it is Zlatan being Zlatan, but it's still quite funny. My notes for this match, Everton versus Sheffield United, include who cares?
Yeah, I mean that pretty much states it right
That
there.
was it. No one gives a fuck. You're safe. They're down. End of the game.
Quite an entertaining game between Brentford and Bournemouth. You had a couple of goals called back on VAR decisions.
Yeah, Solanke early on, and then everything happened in 12 minutes.
I mean, just suddenly it was like, it's 1-0. No, within a moment, it's 1-1. No, wait, it's 2-1. Game's over. What happened? What's it like?
Yeah, and Mbeumo and Wisa woke up all of a sudden, right?
Yeah,
I mean, one played provider first, and the other one played provider second, and they both finished each other's chances off. It was pretty decent from them, obviously. And then Solanke actually got a goal.
Yep. I think for Brentford, it is, sell Tony, strengthen up your defense and strengthen up your midfield, and you keep those
honestly
two
could
guys.
probably move one or two more on.
Yeah.
But Mbeumo and Wisa, if they can stay fit, you're absolutely right. I think could lead the line.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty handedly, to be honest with you.
And I think you got 2 double-digit goal scorers on your hand. I think you do.
Yeah, you're probably right. I still, with Mbeumo, I still think we need to check the birth certificate because they keep saying he's only 24, but just look at him. A beard down to his nipples. Like, there's no way.
Right.
That dude's like 31. He's bald already. Now, most of it, honestly, probably by choice, with an old razor like you do. But there's a reason he shaves his head.
Right.
I guarantee you, dude's like 29 to 31.
Real quick, just because we want to wrap everything up here, is exactly. I'll try to avoid saying put a bow on it because you tell me I say it all the time.
I know that you're trying to avoid it, which is why I bring it up.
Very good.
Because I know you want to say it.
Then it's you saying it. Villa and Liverpool on Monday. For me, I think Villa knows exactly what they need to do. And this is the farewell tour for Liverpool, and it's not in front of their fans, so I don't think they're going to really care. I think this is either a win or a draw for Villa. I figure they're going to figure it out a way. See, that'll secure Champions League.
I kind of go the opposite way.
Okay.
Because they still have the last day of the season where they could clinch.
The last game of the season is at Palace, by the way. Worth noting because Palace has been on fire.
But my problem with Villa, and Mel, correct me if I'm wrong, the last 2, maybe 3 outings, and then you add in the European disappointment, Villa look fucking tired, man.
They very much do.
And Liverpool have had a chance to rest. Liverpool have had a break, and they do have the manager that delivered the Premier League for the first time in 30 years leaving.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Right? So now he won't be doing much because if he gets a yellow card, he's suspended for the final game of the season, his last game in charge.
That's hysterical.
Yeah. So he won't be doing a whole lot, but I think the team might actually turn up for him. They did look a lot better out last time against Spurs. Yeah. They looked like there was a bit more in the tank and a bit more about them. They looked like they were relatively on the same page. But Villa, for what the season has become, they are still in control of their own destiny for fourth place so long as they win on the final day of the season.
Because we've been so tired and we're out of Europe and we've got a chance to rest and we are playing for champions. Plus, there are two teams in the Big Six that Villa seems to have the number of. Liverpool's one of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we know the other. Say it.
Arsenal.
Fuck off.
Sure money.
I lost again.
Yeah. No shit, I did too.
Fucking Fulham. My cup of losers says flying kites, huh? That was a good idea. Absolute twats. Fucking pricks. Sammy, what happened to you, my friend? I will go through all my statistics when we get to me.
I lost, so I am down $678.
Good luck.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
Found the button that time.
Did you know that 23.684211% of the time, it works 100% of the time, doesn't it, Mom? Yes, it does. For my couple losers, I just wrote nope, just nope.
This whole show's a couple losers.
It really
today.
is.
You're
Stop. Stop.
This week,
ashes to ashes and dust to dust.
This week, Mr. Graham, I'm pulling to you. 10-legger on the final day. Fulham over Luton, Brighton over Man U, Arsenal over Everton, Newcastle over Brentford, Spurs over Sheffield, Forest over Burnley, Liverpool over Wolves, Chelsea over Bournemouth, and Manchester City over West Ham, and then finally Villa over Palace will pay out $21,594. My good man.
Nice.
How much?
$21,594 on a $100 bet.
Okay.
Now, I've got a problem.
Why don't you bet that?
Okay. Okay.
Just kidding, don't.
Don't buy it. Don't just bet $10 and win 2,100.
Yeah, precisely.
Because if you lose $10, whatever.
Yeah,
If you lose
exactly.
100,
We have
we
to
might
have
not
a
be able to eat tomorrow
conversation.
night.
But if you lose $10, you don't have to tell me about that.
Yeah, gotcha.
Here's the problem. I have the games in FanDuel. It wouldn't give me odds.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, FanDuel gave me odds. I went right through and did the whole fucking thing.
All right, then I'll go back through and do it again. I know exactly what I did. But do you want to read Pat's email this week?
Sure, I can read Pat's email
while
real
I
quick.
take care of this? Because it told me that... Okay.
It's time for our degenerate gambling
I'm done.
friend, Pat's Pick It Away.
Jesus Christ. Fuck off.
Going out with a bang bang chicken. Alrighty. I hit last week, so I'm now down only $925. Let's have fun and try to get even for the last week of the season. I'm going to risk $575 on Arsenal beating Everton, Liverpool beating Wolverhampton, Tottenham beating Sheffield, and oh my God, I am actually going to ride Chelsea beating Bournemouth. That pays out $1,017. Sorry I didn't go on the show today. I'm in the middle of watching the O's get spanked on Mother's Day by Arizona. It's been a fun year. Can't wait to hear the craziness Sam has for the last week. Really hope Arsenal can pull it off this year. It comes down to Tuesday. You guys have a great summer. And see you all at the with a hot dog in one hand and a cold beer in the other in a couple of months. Pat out.
Tuesday.
Nice. Yeah, see, look. Let's get rid of that. Is it going to give me odds? It's not giving me odds.
I went right through it, gave me odds. Yeah.
My games cannot be selected, but then look here.
Oh, is it because you picked also the midweek as well?
Yeah.
You can't pick the midweek because initially I was going to pick Newcastle. I was just going to do a simple bet of just Newcastle winning both of their games, and it wouldn't let me do the two together.
Oh, well,
so I only did the 10 fixture the weekend, not the full 13 games left.
All right, so I'm very far down.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was the midweek, and then can I share a screenshot?
Yes, please.
On Thursday of my weekend picks and bet twice this week or no?
What's that?
I said, can I bet the midweek, which is what I wrote down because it was giving me this error message.
Yeah.
And then share a screenshot on Thursday of my weekend picks.
Absolutely. I'll let you do both.
So I'll bet $200, $100 each.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, go for it.
All right, so for the midweek, here's what I'm going to do.
We can't not have you do.
I know, which is
9-way parlay.
No, I did a 15 or 13 or 14 game, whatever it was. I did that for the whole week. I was going to just bet everything that happened, but it wouldn't let me. Anyway, here we go. I'm now down $2,347. Another stellar year.
Yeah, fucking rock star year.
So here we are. This midweek, I'm going to half that deficit because Liverpool and draw over Aston Villa on Monday, Tottenham or a draw with Manchester City on Tuesday, which could lose at Mel, obviously. Chelsea to beat Brighton because I think they're riding a good bit of form. And Brighton I don't see completely out of it yet. And then Newcastle or draw with Manchester United because Newcastle are away from home. That pays me on a $100 bet at plus $1,055.
Okay, very good.
Okay, so that's my midweek, right? Wednesday night or Thursday morning, I will share my
all the other games
for the weekend. I will share my weekend bet.
I imagine you're picking similar to what I pick, except for you'll probably pick West Ham to draw or win.
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I might go reverse psychology.
Okay.
I might go City over 5.5.
Right, just to win it.
And then West Ham win 1-0.
Very good. Love it. Well,
we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's my midweek bet because my scheme, my bit is doing the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wouldn't. I wanted to do, like I said, I wanted to do all 14, and it wouldn't let me.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me do, like I said, the midweek and the weekend. So yeah, that's probably why. But you know what else we have going on?
You dick should listen more to Mel.
Do you know? So because she has a chicken.
I was doing some tour business while I was also looking at my phone, so I am pulling this up blind because that is how good I am. So Kitty hit with the Spurs, and now she sits at 20-15. So this time I gave Kitty Burnley hosting Forest. So she showed me a picture of her. A picture.
Uh-huh. Very good.
Of her crafting JJ Watt's tweet to Burnley supporters about going down. So she clearly thinks Burnley is going to finish their Premier League champion on a victory.
I probably, you know what? The ghostwriter doesn't write everything right, but you also can't say picture correctly, so it's okay.
What? I'm so confused.
Their year in the championship on a victory. They're going down to the championship, so they're finishing their last game in the Premier League, and I wrote it incorrectly, so fucking get over it.
Do you know what else is correct?
What's correct?
That everybody should not be like either Sam, and should probably gamble legally and responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was ready, and you didn't throw it at me.
No, and he's being try.
That's going to wrap it up, boys and girls.
He's being Sheffield United right now.
Mr. Graham, any parting words?
Not really. Wasn't really anything happening this week, honestly.
One very cool thing, AC Milan today for their match. All of the players in honor of Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Had their mom's names on the back of their jerseys.
Maiden names,
yeah,
right?
Yep, on the back of their jerseys. And the announcer the whole match referred to them by their mom's
that's pretty cool.
name.
That is pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Very, very cool.
Tegan, we may do this on injury time, maybe not. We might just have her call in next week. The reason she was calling me so hard is they won 2-0. And she apparently had a couple of really good saves.
Nice.
Like really good saves.
I figured if she kept calling you, it was because she saved a penalty or something, that
there
it was something
going
big.
on. Yeah. So that's what she texted me. So I do want to shout her out real quick.
Excellent.
And maybe on injury time, Mel, we give her a wee call and let her explain a couple things.
That sounds great.
All right,
Awesome.
perfect.
Yeah, but other than that, nobody was a cunt, so it's easy.
Oh, good. And let's go ahead real quick. And next up is going to be the EFL show, which is going to be honestly short and sweet because it's just playoff matches. So probably only going to be about a 10-minute show. But we're going to keep that streaming as well. And then after that will be injury time, where we will preview the entire midweek and week's action for the final time of the season. Should somebody want to find injury time, Mr. Graham, how do they go about doing it?
Very easy. It's patreon.com/DU Football Show. You sign up to that $5 tier. You get everything that we do extra. That is injury time, as Sam just said, our preview show. That's also sound check, which is our actual sound check. There's been times where you haven't heard a fucking word, but then you heard a podcast because we fixed it during that show. Mm-hmm. You're welcome for the 9 minutes of silence.
Very good. All right, everybody. Till next week and the season finale.
Good night.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of a lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.